Hello, everybody on vibesworkshop.com. Jerry Leake here with my wonderful Balafon, the log xylophone from Burkina Faso, north of Ghana, that country is. And we're going to now dive into a more extensive study that's going to involve multiple lessons to show you how we can get inside the world of 12/8 from the African point of view and how we can work on various grooves that come from the drumming patterns and also getting into the cross rhythms, the mathematical studies of polyrhythm that are possible. And it's quite deep. There's no doubt about it. But this is a pattern that many of us, I think, are familiar with. I'm keeping the beat with my ankle bells, and I'm going to just show you this pattern as it was played on an African bell, which I have, of course, many of. That one's not sounding the best, but I have all these guys available. This pattern. The upper one's a little cracked, and I should have known that going in. But this is the gonkogui of the Ghanaian music, the southern Ghana, the music of the Ewe people of southern Ghana. What you see behind me are a number of the drums from that tradition. Here we have a kidi and a sogo and a kagan, and this is the big master drum right here, that big tall guy. So there's a number of traditions that are represented in the background of this particular wall from my basement. This is my cave where I take care of business. So we're using the bell pattern, this particular phrase, that's actually quite world famous. It's not just found in Ghana. It's ubiquitous throughout the world. I know it as the Agbekor bell because Agbekor or Atsi Agbekor is a famous warrior rhythm played on all these drums, and it features that bell pattern. But many compositions in this particular region use that same bell pattern. There's Agbagja, Ajogbo, there's Acha, so many different compositions from the Ewe side. And also you'll find it in Afro-Cuban music, very popular pattern known as the Bembe bell, also the Abakwa. So different terms that describe the same pattern. In the African side, it's in 12/8, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In the Afro-Cuban side, the Bembe bell is felt in 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. But of course, they share a relationship. In fact, Afro-Cuban has the word Afro, African in it. And so I really combine those sensibilities. Afro-Cuban 6/8 combinations with the 12/8 and all kinds of different possibilities. Now, back to our short and long analysis from before. If I'm keeping the beat, and if you're in 12/8, this guy gets into the dotted quarter note reference. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and really becomes like an African waltz. That's where that whole sort of reference comes into play. So we have long, long, short, long, 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 short, one, long, short, long, 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 short, long, long, short, long, 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 short, long, long, short, long, long, short, long. So that can be put on any hand. In fact, we'll get into a little bit of a secret down the road, but for now, I'm just going to play it in my left register. So, sang and C. Remember, sang, C, sang, C, sang, C, sang, C, long, short, long, short, long. Now, if I want to put the 1 on a lower register for emphasis, I'm not going to really get into a lot of theory and analysis about the African context of this. I can include links to other material to give you that, because we get bogged down, frankly, with a lot of cultural context and background on the phrase, except to say that it's ubiquitous and it's quite famous and you've heard it many times before. Well, it turns out, my friends, that the Agbekor bell, the Bembe bell, which is also, by the way, known as the standard African pattern in ethnomusicological terms, it's so famous they just call it the standard pattern. Turns out that is the same formula for a major scale. If you take the duration, the long, and think of it as a whole step, and the short and think of it as a half step, you have a major scale. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, sang, C, sang, whole, half, whole, half, whole, half, whole, half, whole. So imagine playing your scales, kind of keeping the beat with the left hand and work on a sang, C, sang, C. Now going down, it's a different formula, but play the same pattern going down. Go up to 2 octaves. If I'm on the Balafon, which is of course pentatonic, this is kind of what I would get. If I'm playing the beat with the left hand, let me get positioned here. So there's our scale. That's our bell pattern adapted rhythmically as if it were part of the scale. I got some wrong notes in there, I don't care. So that's more like it. So sometimes you got to practice in the act of doing it. But anyway, that is a magical phrase that's felt not only in the jazz side. When I teach my students, I explain that it's the Ionian mode, which means you can really explore Dorian mode of the bell, Phrygian mode, Lydian, Mixolydian. All those kind of longs and short combinations are actual bell patterns in other traditions. So, but for now, I'm gonna just put it in the lower register, like so. Just keeping it simple. I'll give you the downbeat. Sang. Now the right hand is just going to find the 1. 1. Then I'm going to bring in the 4. 4, 1. 4, 1. Then the 3. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. Then the 2. Exploring the bell pattern with a kind of lower notes, lower interval on the downbeat on the 1, and some combinations of the right hand. And right off the bat, you're looking at some intricate patterns. On drums, I find no problem with it, but it definitely has me thinking about where I'm going and the shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You can go up to the 3rd note. So that's just, once again, playing the beat, the pulse, slower. 1. Fa, di, mi. So that's the beat. I brought it in one at a time, the 1, and then the 4, 1, because that's where it comes together with the bell, and other things that the article that I'll include will explain. So that's the bell pattern, sang C with the beat. And so let's see. Now that is the 4 pulse in the phrase. And I think maybe we'll take a look at the 6 pulse to the phrase as well. So what would that be if I'm playing the bell pattern? I go ta-ki-ta, 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 ta. My very first video on the 3/2 kind of gets into what we're talking about here. It's a 3 ta-ki-ta, ta-ki-ta. Ta-ki-ta, ta-ki-ta. I did variations in the very first video, but now we're taking those ideas and bringing in the bell pattern. So, 1. Here's back to the 4. The reason why I'm showing you these two patterns first is because, well, we feel the pattern in a 4 pulse or a 2 pulse and also in the 6. Very common to hear this phrase right off the bat in a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. The reason why the first 3 hits are in the 6th field, but then it flips. The bell has that kind of short, long flipping attribute that's very fascinating. So the 4, 6. Okay, so work on those ideas first. And you're probably wondering, why am I speaking those syllables? Well, remember, my whole idea and formula for musical success in arranging and composing is taking the groove of African music and weaving in the mathematics of Indian. And these cross rhythms that we're doing, the 4 polyrhythm and the 6, they're built into the African tradition anyway. But I'm using the Indian syllables as a reference, as a way of owning the phrase. And so apologies for a few of the wrong notes. But you get the idea. Just don't even care, man. I don't. At this point, it's all about just surrendering and letting the hands find the flow. All right, so next video, we're going to look into some of the combinations. So we did the 4 cross rhythm and the 6 cross rhythm, but we're going to combine those to build some patterns and look at some of the other traditional patterns that are part of the tradition. And I'll show some of the drums at that point as well, so kind of give you a reference there. So this connects a few dots, and I hope you enjoyed it. These are kind of extended videos, but believe me, I work on these things for entire semesters with my students and on drum set and other instruments. This is the first time I'm presenting them in any way, shape, or form on the Balafon, and also for you to explore. So I thank Tony, of course, for motivating me and inspiring me to get into this kind of exploration. And it's not without its challenges, but it's fun. Talk to you soon for some more development of this particular idea. Bye-bye.